As a kid, I was the world's strongest hater. I knew what I wanted, and if something was not what I wanted, then it was absolute ass. This was very simple. Thankfully with time, I kind of grew out of this terrible mindset, and one of the things that actually proved me wrong and helped me get besides that was the Nintendo Wii. This console means a lot to me. It was effectively many things, like in my household, it was a cool little media center console. Now, a lot of people actually attempted this. Xbox was especially big on this. I think Microsoft, when they entered the Kinect era, they was like, oh, Xbox aren't just video game consoles anymore. Like, they have to be your Netflix, your YouTube, your kind of everything device. And some people could say it worked. Some people could definitely say it worked. I think they kind of overdid it. At some point, the Xbox 360 stopped feeling like an actual console, and it was just something that was meant for the casual people to use. That was kind of a bad thing to say back then. The whole hardcore gamer versus casual gamer thing. I remember there was a lot of debates on forums and shit about video game companies trying to appeal to this group that didn't really care about gaming and gamers and games, and how it would be the end of gaming if they kept doing that. Obviously, kind of a dumb statement. Kind of a stupid statement, even if it wasn't entirely incorrect. Nowadays, people manage to properly convert normal people into video game obsessed people pretty well. But back then, they kind of struggled to appeal to one of the two groups and not make the other one feel excluded. At any rate, the media center console for me was the Wii, because it was the only console I could afford. I got my first Wii secondhand, and yeah, I like it. My Wii was obviously a Wii console. It was also my GameCube. It was also my internet browser, even though it had a shitty version of Opera, and that you could barely do a thing on it. You had to mostly look at websites that were designed with the Wii in mind, so you wouldn't kill the poor little Wii's RAM. It was also my first YouTube device, and for a long while, this was my favorite way to have YouTube on the TV. And I'm kind of curious to see if it would still work nowadays, honestly. Especially as YouTube on smart TVs and newer consoles has 12 ads per videos. It's kind of insane. Off topic, but I think it's kind of insane. I remember some people used it for Netflix. I wasn't one of them. I didn't have a Netflix subscription back then. It was smaller and I was poor. I didn't have a revenue stream. There was also some silly little things like news and weather, and you could look at your pictures and videos from an SD card and play puzzles with them, and that was silly and I liked it. Now when it comes to the games themselves, the Wii had a huge catalog of fun games and I really loved it. Mario Galaxy, I'm a fan of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I know it's not the best one to play for players against players, but the story mode, man, the story mode, I love the story mode. It was such a fun memory of me playing that with my sister, and I remember what cutscene in particular changed the trajectory of our lives forever. It's that one when you have a group of characters flying by a snake's cardboard, and then you have Lucario seeing him through it. And I don't know, I just thought it was funny. But yeah, it was also Sonic Colors, aka my favorite Sonic from that era. I'm sorry, Sonic Unleashed fans, I promise I'll speak about it later on my little Sonic series of videos. There was the Resident Evil Wild Shooter, I forgot its name, but it was fun. The Mario Kart Wii, that was a classic. It wasn't one of the games I'll whip out always when I had guests over, which was not a lot of times. But when I did, I'd also play it in high school with friends running Dolphin on my PC. That was a good memory. The school librarian hated us, but you know, at least we had fun. The Mario Party series on this console are a bit strange. They took a new approach where you would be in the same vehicle as other players and you would move everyone's vehicle with your dice, and you had to collect mini stars instead of actual stars and coins. It was weird. It was a weird format, and not a lot of people liked it, and they kept doing it, so now a lot of people liked those games. I was definitely one of them, but then you remember that the Wii was also a GameCube, at least the first model. Mine was one of them, and everything was alright, right? Because it was also a GameCube, everything was alright. I just played the old ones, and all was fine. There was also the Wii series kind of game. How could I ever forget those? Wii Sports obviously was my first what the fuck motion gaming kind of title. I still play Wii Sports nowadays. How crazy is that? It just is fun. I'm a pro at golf. I'm ready to fight anyone who decides otherwise. I will defeat you in golf. I have a friend who was very strong at bowling too, and one day in vacation, yeah, it's a little story time. We were in vacation near to the beach, and while other people were doing something else, we was like, oh, let's play a little bit of Wii Sports. And I actually defeated the bowling friend in bowling, and we did like 3 games in a row because he wanted his win back, he wanted his crown, his title, and I did not give it back. It's fun, it's silly, I have good memories of that kind of title, just like with Wii Party. Party's a bit of a knockoff on Mario Party, but with Miis, there are some things that are unique. The main party mode is like an actual board, the actual Mario Party-like mode. Not a lot of things to say about this. This is... well, I mean, I guess this was your traditional Mario Party, because the other ones on the Wii didn't have the same format as they used to. Which is funny now that I think about it. Now, the biggest appeal of this game was the Wii Remote Hide and Seek. I don't know how it's called in English. But basically, you could connect up to 4 Wii remotes. People had to leave their room, and then you hide the remotes out everywhere, and they have to find it as fast as possible, while the Wii remote makes some little noises to try and guide them. Some people were devious. The first games, we were sticking up to like sweet hiding spots, you know, nothing bad, just little silly things. And afterwards, we became gradually more evil to try and hide those damn remotes. That's fun, I like it. It's also like a really clever usage of the Wii remote, I think it's nice. That being said, the Wii did have lots of shovelware software. Now, I never got personally affected by it because, as I said before, I was a hater. You know, kid me I had a big nose, I could just sniff bad video games, and those would not survive my wrath. So that was fine for me. I never got like a shovelware bought by my parents, also because but again, I was poor, so at a young age I learned how to hack my console, so my Wii got hacked really fast. But anyway, even if I wasn't, I never fell prey to that kind of games. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who did, and those must have been disgusted by the Wii after a little bit. There's also the fact that, yeah, the Wii definitely had an emphasis on casual titles, and if you were like an hardcore gamer, well, you had Cube games. If you didn't have a GameCube before, you had like a pretty good catalog of more serious titles. Then you had some games by Nintendo. Twilight Princess, which was also on GameCube. Skyward Sword was probably too motion control for you, so you would skip that one. Mario Galaxy was nice. Not exactly a hardcore title, but it's not exactly a casual one either. Yeah, you had the Metroid Prime series playable on the Wii. Pikmin, if you're that kind of freak. Playing with a Wii remote was actually good. From what I've heard, it was the best way to play Pikmin back then. I'm something of a Pikmin newbie. A friend is trying to convert me into Pikmin obsessed person. This is still in progress. You had to come see me in 1 year and maybe I'll start speaking about then, don't worry. But yeah, that definitely played into the Wii's identity. See how like some consoles have like something they're known for? Like the PSP was the side game system, you know, where it was like Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts, Uncharted, GTA. The PSP was always here for side games. You never get the next big entry, but you'd get something that was close to the PS2 titles, like something that was good enough. The Wii was the party game system, like you were supposed to grab your friends, your cousins, your siblings, whoever, and play funny games like for an hour or so with them, and then like, I don't know, go to dinner and do something else with your entire life. And it's funny to keep that in mind, because then you have to look at its successors, the Wii U and the Switch. The Wii U is just more Wii in both hardware and software, honestly. It's quite famously so, because people didn't really understand what that console was about. Some people just thought it was like an add-on to the Wii, like the U-Draw tablet. And now that I think about it, I say it out loud, it's really stupid that I mostly showed a tablet, because tablet accessories already existed for the Wii by multiple companies, so it wasn't that crazy to think, oh, this is the U-Draw, or what was the name of the second one? I don't know. Anyway, that was the U-Draw by Nintendo, is what I mean. It was not. Something that's funny is that the Wii U definitely had some impact on Nintendo. The most obvious one, at least to me, is Splatoon. Nintendo doesn't often create a lot of new IPs. The last one I can think of is ARMS, I guess, for Switch. And that didn't really take off, and I think they're just gonna abandon that, so that's sad. At least to me, that's sad. Splatoon, however, they quickly capitalized on that, and they were very right to. because people love Splatoon. People yearn for the squids. In terms of software, you also had a lot of Wii-fied titles, as I like to call them. So you had Wii Fit on the Wii, then you get Wii Fit U. Wii Sports Club was stupid because you had to get a subscription. I never got that. I got why you do that. Nintendo Land was kinda silly. Not exactly what I'd call a killer app though. Wii Sports was dead as a killer app, and it's funny because it has less things in it than Nintendo Land. Nintendo Land didn't really have that one game you could always play with friends like bowling on Wii Sports was. There was the Luigi's Mansion minigame that I really liked and the Mario Chase ones, but I think those spoke to a more core audience, you know? To people who are more used with games. And that's kind of the problem when they try to move back the cursor on the casual to hardcore gamer scale. They didn't exactly do it well. I think the Wii U reached a place where it was too casual for hardcore gamers, it was too hardcore for casual gamers, like, no one wanted this. And that's just speaking about the people who understood what the Wii U was. So no one wanted this for real, like, even more. Now, the Switch is definitely more successful for once. It really did its job more of converting people that got interest of Nintendo IPs that wanted to get back into gaming or to get into gaming at all, to buy a Nintendo console instead of just playing on their phones and shit. Part of that has to do with the hardware concept that's definitely better than the Wii U. Having an actual hybrid system between portable and not, it was a good idea. Not gonna lie, it was a really good idea. Now, over time, more game-focused people would definitely come to regret that because it meant that the specs had to be lower. And if the Switch felt a little outdated on release, the more the years came by, and the more it felt really outdated. But regardless, the Switch released with not too many titles, but one strong-ass title, which was Breath of the Wild, and yeah, that sold. That sold a lot. And afterwards, the catalog of the Switch kind of became really good because you have a lot of unique entries, you had some new games, some new IPs, and you've got a lot of ports on the console. Because of course, porting on the Switch meant you could port on a portable console and on a Nintendo console that was up to date and not total dog shit. Like the Switch actually has a strong install base that you can maybe not reach with other consoles, that you would have to develop on mobile for. And not everyone wants to make a mobile version of their games, which, you know, makes sense. So for this, I think the Switch is really interesting to target, which meant it got a lot of support and, you know, more games attract more people, etc. It was a beneficial cycle for Nintendo is what I'm saying. I kinda like the Switch, I really like the games it has, I really like its concept. I regret heavily that its specs suck as much as they do. And you know, as we race towards March of 2025, I'm definitely expecting the Switch 2 to kind of reassure me in terms of that, but not too much. I don't think the Switch 2 will be this powerhouse of a console, but I do hope that it brings more power to the table because, damn, ever since the 64 really, Nintendo has been lagging in terms of power, and yeah, Nintendo's appeal has always been, also since I'd say the Wii, well actually the Wii, and a unique concept of consoles, and just fun game, like just flat out good and fun games, and that's hard to beat. They also have very strong IPs that pretty much everyone loves, so Nintendo's always gonna get you by the balls, is what I'm saying. But I would like them to at least be kind to my balls, if this is what they're gonna do. I would like them to give me a console that doesn't feel outdated on day one. If in 2 to 3 years, the Switch 2 feels bad, feels a bit laggy, feels a bit choppy, some ports are a bit weird, that's fine. I would just like that to not happen on day one or for the first 1 to 2 years. Please. Just a wee bit more power while still keeping those unique concepts that the Wii introduced, like motion controls and stuff. And I think we can have a really perfect console. Anyway, the Wii really impacted Nintendo's legacy, and I love that little guy. I'm definitely gonna talk about more Wii game titles specifically in more videos, but I just wanted to remember what the Wii did for me and for Nintendo, and then I just loved it, and I need to tell it, okay? The Wii is lovely.